So, and also, for some bizarre reason, the company decided it's got... oh, here we go. We are live. We have those internet phones.
Yeah, well, no, virtually every business has an IP phone.
Yeah, but they're no good.
Well, no, they are. It's just you just had a little outage, dear, that's all.
But I will say, when it did eventually come back on,
yes,
the internet was blazingly faster than it was
well,
before.
that's because everything else hadn't signed back in yet to track it down. Anyway, first world problems and all that. I don't know.
You've got the same picture from last week, mate. You need to change your background picture.
I'm quite happy with this one, thank you.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
I can't believe you haven't noticed what I'm wearing, by the way.
Oh, hold on. Oh, it fits you well.
It does, surprisingly, yes.
Oh, lovely.
Well, it'd been living in my bottom drawer in my desk, and then I didn't realise it was Children in Need Day. So I put the T-shirt on, and obviously I'm home in it. So I'm glad it was in my drawer.
Do you like the design, Mr. Bones?
Oh, beautiful. Yes, very nice.
Oh dear, Mr. Abel's just sent me a picture of me. Mr. Abel, go to bed, will you? You've been up since silly o'clock. Mr. Jono, you know Mr. Abel, don't you?
No, who's that?
Do you not? Okay, all right, okay.
I don't listen to him every morning on the way into.
Do you
work.
not? Oh, you should.
No.
Nev, you should give it a try. It's marvellous.
I know. I'm just wonder who won the cream horn question this morning.
I beg your pardon.
Yeah, exactly.
Beg your pardon. Not in front of the children. You'll set Nev off. There we go. Right, how are we doing with the time?
I was on the edge last week, actually, when we mentioned that airline again.
Your favourite airline. Yeah.
It was very difficult.
It was very tricky, that one, yeah.
Just about got through it, yeah.
Survived. Dear, never mind, eh? Right, how are we doing for time, Nev? Got to start.
57 at the moment.
Okay, very good.
So 2.5 minutes to go.
2.5 minutes, okay. And I have remembered to load the clock and everything. Yes, I did say clock, Mr. Abel. Giving him the blame on everything. How rubbish is Friday night TV that you... Anyway, mustn't grumble. There's yeah. I think he was watching planes at Heathrow while I was on the radio on Saturday or Sunday, and I thought, oh, Carlos will never be very proud.
Yeah.
Ah, dear, never mind. Hey, right. Stickler for tight timings here, aren't we?
Well,
standards and all that. Oh dear, we'll have to get Mr. Abel on one of these days if we can persuade him to stay awake this long.
Yeah.
He's off on a flight soon. Be fun.
Oh, come on.
I haven't got the studio lights on, have I? Alexa, studio lights on, please.
Oh no, mine just heard you. Jesus! Oh my God! You've just turned the light on in here. Thank you, Matt.
Always a happy. Alexa, studio off. Okay, anyway, we're ready, right? So, shall we?
I'm glad you are.
Yeah. Shall we? We'll go, shall we?
But are we?
We should be back on air. Yeah, that should have come straight back.
I don't think we are. Oh, we are now.
Yeah. It would take a moment or two, but yeah, because I hadn't ended the stream, so that should have.
Yes.
Okay. Right. Okay. If we're ready, then.
Just loading everything back up.
It's all right. It's good for you. It's character building. Bring that up.
Why have we got a QR code on the?
Oh, that's a good point. Don't know. I'll sort that.
Ten, 9.
Here we go.
7.
Good luck, everyone.
6, 5.
Just don't say the A word and
No, I won't.
studio off. Well, hello and welcome to episode number 480 of the Plain Talking UK podcast. I'm Carlos, and in this week's show, it's episode 480. And this week we've got stories on aircraft taking slight detours. We've also got some news on one airline spending a rather large amount of money. And also, we've got some great news about a certain Dreamliner that's had a rather frosty trip this week as well. In the military news this week, we've got some great stories from the B-21 Raider. And also, we've got some more news on the Secret X-Plane program.
Ooh.
So, joining me from across the village in a studio not too far away from me is, of course, the man who knows all the commands of all the electrical devices in my house. That's me.
Yes. If it's any consolation, it backfired here as well, because that's also the command to turn off this studio as well.
Oh, you've done the main studio as well?
Yeah. No, I did a proper job. Yeah. Nev is unimpressed, I think is the word we're looking for there. Unimpressed.
I don't have this automation in my studio.
No, quite. Absolutely. We prefer the world of analog, don't we?
Captain Cruise. Captain Cruise is saying that word. Just don't say it. Captain
You can do.
Honestly. So, yes, welcome, Matt. Nice to see you. Nice to see you wearing your T-shirt. That
Absolutely.
Ago.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, just having a minor technical issue here that I may or may not have caused. Just bear with me a moment.
Okay. And obviously joining us this week as well, as always, is the legend that is, well, he's the connoisseur of all things BA and, of course, Seat 1A. It's Neville Bounds.
Yes, had to do a last-minute shirt change as well due to sausage casserole incident.
Oh, no.
And that is not a euphemism.
No, right, okay.
And so, no, we're all okay now. But no, very hectic this week. Not actually going very far, but I'm away on business really, well, for the next sort of 2 or 3 weeks during the main parts of the week in Edinburgh and Dublin. So lots of prep to do for all that, but looking forward to it. And looking forward to tonight's show. We had a lot of good feedback from last week's show, by the way, as well, with Al on board.
Yeah, so good to see him. It's been a while, hasn't it?
And listening about Ruben's challenges as well. That was interesting. And tonight we have got the results of the competition, which we'll be reading out a bit later on as well.
Indeed. Going to be good.
So no flying this weekend, Nev?
No, just a bit of driving, and then I'm actually driving to Edinburgh next week because I've got lots of gear to take with me. Then coming back and then flying to Dublin the week after.
Love a bit of Dublin. Dublin.
And Galway probably as well.
Oh, wow. Oh, okay.
That. So, yeah.
Sounds good.
Off to producer John's neck of the woods.
Yep, exactly right. Yeah.
Sounds like fun.
It does. It really does.
So we've got no Armando this week. Unfortunately, we've got no Armando. He is very busy, as he always is, flying across the US in, various aircraft. I honestly can't keep up with the amount of aircraft that Armando flies on a daily basis.
His type ratings are beyond ridiculous.
I think... Well, it's just limitless, I think, Armando's flight.
Indeed.
But we're going to say a special hello to everyone who's joined us in the YouTube chat room this evening. I'm going to say hello at the top of the list here, Hobby Time. Hello to you, Hobby Time. Captain Cruise is also in there. Local listener, Mazoos. Good to see you in there, Mazoos. Richard Adams, hello to you as well. Lee Davies, hello to you, Lee. I did spy Lee in the Airliners live chat room this week. We had a little chat in there as well. Great stuff the guys do up there at Manchester. Also, it's Dirk S in the chat room. Hello to you, Dirk. I'm just scrolling down, make sure I don't miss anyone. Masha, hello to Masha. She's in there as well. Hope it's warmer your neck of the woods, Masha. It's been blooming cold here today.
Yeah, isn't it?
It has, but temperatures dropped quite a bit, actually.
Yeah.
John Jester, our resident cargo captain, he's in the chat room as well. Sturman, hello to you as well. Good to see you, Sturman.
Yeah.
Jan, good to see Jan in there as well. Hope you're well. Scrolling down, and a big welcome to everyone who's tuning in for the show tonight. Don't forget, if you are listening to our voices on the audio podcast, get yourselves over to YouTube, where we are live, as we are right now, every Friday night at 7 o'clock here in the UK with our live show. Hit the subscribe button and the bell icon to be notified when Matt has pressed that all-important live button.
Yes. Absolutely.
So we've got some great news to get through tonight on the show. We've also got, obviously, as Nev said, the competition as well. And, Matt, if you're ready, let's do some
let's go. Let's go.
The captain has turned on the seatbelt light. Please take your seats and fasten your seatbelts.
So the first news story this week in the commercial news segment has been brought to us this week by the legend that is Armando. And it's a story that I saw online this week, actually myself. Saw the video as well, which made it onto not only Twitter, but also Instagram of this. I saw the video. The video is pretty damn stunning to see, actually. It's all the way over the US, and we're going to hand things over to Armando.
Hey guys, I'm happy to take the first story in commercial this week. It's from ABC News and some other news sources. A small plane actually crashed into a car after overshooting a runway during what they're calling an emergency landing. Wasn't really an emergency landing from what I see. This was in McKinney, Texas. Apparently, there is a video that we may play out that shows this small aircraft crashing through a fence. Initial reports were during an emergency landing. This was in the Dallas suburb of McKinney, Texas. In the video, it looks like it bounced and skidded onto the road, losing its undercarriage and then colliding with a silver sedan that was driving perpendicular to the airplane's path, or there by the end of the runway. One of the witnesses said that he saw the airplane coming down the runway quickly. I knew they weren't going to have time to stop. That was Jack Schneider, a bystander who recorded the footage on his phone and then later sent it to the media. Now, as you can imagine, in some of the pictures here, the medics showed up, firefighters cleaned up the area, and they took the car's driver to the hospital with some minor injuries. There was no injuries in the aircraft. So after we looked at this a little bit more, I knew it wasn't a regular aircraft or a common aircraft. This is actually a Lancer LX-7. LX-7 is a little bit of a evolution of an aircraft. It's funny because Lancer and Evolution aircraft split off. But this LX-7 is one of their more modern offerings from Lancer. It's kind of it was actually registered as a Lancer 4P, P being pressurized. As you can see, it's kind of similar to a Cirrus, kind of similar to your modern 4-seat carbon composite aircraft. Now this aircraft actually has a turboprop engine in it, so it's got a 3-blade propeller and then a turbine engine in it, making it a 320 knot aircraft. That's a lot. That's a lot of speed. That's a lot of performance for your average owner, and it's a lot of speed and performance for a home-built aircraft. Now, as you can see behind me, I used to own a Lancer 360, which was also a high-performance aircraft for what it was. Now, we're talking aircraft that are doing 200 to 300 miles per hour, right? Personally, in my Lancer 360, I never did anything shorter than about 4,000 foot of paved. That was just because even though I flew the aircraft regularly, I never found myself really proficient. Now, that was just me. We don't know the history of this pilot. We don't know their experience with Lancer and these kind of high-performance aircraft. The McKinney Air Park, Arrow Country Airport, it's a 4,500-foot runway, but the first 1,300 feet of it is grass and turf, which this aircraft cannot do. So it actually left it with just about 3,000 feet of paved runway, rather skinny, and it's one of those places. It's a suburb of Dallas, Texas, so small air park surrounded by lots of personal hangars. Every knot that you are over your reference speed or your ideal speed for approach is going to extend your landing distance. These are the kinds of planes that, with the right training, you are able to take off, land, and fly exactly at the airspeeds that you need to be. That takes practice, that takes proficiency, comfort level in the aircraft. Landing this very fast and high performance Lancer LX7 turboprop on a 3,000 foot strip is challenging. It can be challenging. Now, this being a turbine engine, the aircraft does have the ability to reverse the propeller, right? So reverse the pitch of the propeller to give them additional braking. Generally, we calculate landing distances to not include reverse. Now, that's sometimes an operator-driven thing. Sometimes that's a owner-driven thing. If you're comfortable with your own aircraft and you know that it's up to you to mitigate that risk or take on that risk should the reverse function of the engine fail. Without reverse, landing at 110 knots over the fence in this kind of high performance aircraft on a 3,000 foot strip would be challenging for anybody. Now, there were some reports that the owner said that the reverse function did not work, or they couldn't select reverse for whatever reason. Therefore, that would explain kind of going over the end of the runway at a relatively low speed. I'll bet you there were some skid marks on there. These aircraft are not equipped with any kind of anti-skid. And if you look at the landing gear setup for this airplane, it looks a lot like a Cessna 210 or a Cessna 182 RG setup. So it's kind of not flimsy. I mean, it's proven, but it's not the most robust gear. So as soon as the pilot went off the end of the runway, those landing gear were going to shear off, probably helping them stop. Very unfortunate that they just happened to be a car there. But again, I don't think it was an emergency landing. It looked like that was their intended destination. I think it was probably just a little bit, again, me just kind of looking at it, a little bit of misjudgment of the speed on final approach, and then perhaps combined with that inability to go into reverse. If that was indeed the case, then that would kind of explain this accident. But thankfully, again, no one was hurt in this particular mishap.
Yeah, it was quite an interesting video when this first popped up, as I said, on my Instagram feed, and I saw this. And I think for the person who was traveling along that perimeter road in their car, would have been quite the sight to see from the from the driver's seat of that car. Yeah. But not only that, imagine if you had dash cam footage of that. If the insurance company ever said, your car insurance company said, "Oh well, how did you damage your car?" "I hit a plane." "Oh, did you? Did you really?" "Well, actually, yes, I did hit a plane. Here is the dash cam footage." But yeah, I'm glad it was. Obviously, it was a good outcome from this. But still an interesting video to see and watch for sure. But Armando explained it very well, as he always does in the video.
Yeah, sort of quite a low speed impact, wouldn't you say, Nev?
Yes.
In comparison,
I mean, it could have been a whole lot worse, though, couldn't it?
It could.
Let's be honest.
That is true.
And it's not the first time this sort of thing has happened.
No. Now, I thought this was an isolated incident, but while we were chatting during this, sort of Nev reminded of something that happened. When did you say this was?
Well, this is back in 1996.
Wow.
And I was actually in the traffic jam behind all this because I was driving into London at the time. This is on the A40, which is the road that goes west to east out of London. And of course, that's where RAF Northolt is as well, which is used for exec jets and military operations and government and royalty flights and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And this fella's driving along in his Ford Transit, minding his own business. When he looks out to the left-hand side and notices this Learjet 25B hurtling towards him. And
you do.
I think Matt may even have a picture of the result of it.
Indeed. Now, I think this is in stark contrast to the other one. I think this one was relatively faster speeds involved in this one.
Yes. Now, this is what happens when you land with a tailwind on a short runway.
Right.
And that's what happens. So there's actually an arrestor bed now, so that can't happen again, hopefully. But in fact, the aircraft was coming to Northolt from Palma in Mallorca just before 10 o'clock when it ran out of runway, it says here, and tore through an airfield fence onto the A40 dual carriageway. Yes, I can confirm that's exactly what happened. But luckily, again, there was no serious injuries there.
That is unreal to think that, Nev. Looking at that picture.
Yeah. I mean, there's carnage, isn't it? I mean, it's just like...
If you look at the AAIB accident investigation, there's an awful lot that went wrong with this approach at landing. Far too much to go into today. But, yeah, I remember being stuck in that traffic jam for many hours. And, in fact, I don't think I've made this up, but I think I'm right in saying that the fella that was in the transit phones into his company to say, I'm going to be a bit late in to this job in London, or maybe not at all, because I've had a small accident with this Learjet. And I don't think he was believed initially. It wasn't until the BBC got the helicopter up and actually started transmitting stuff on the news that the full situation was established. Yeah.
I can imagine. I mean, also, if you were Clive Waldron, I don't know how thrilled you'd be to have that sprawled all over the BBC.
Well, there's no such thing as bad advertising, is there? So
I don't know. I must admit, I didn't even know that office seating renovations was a thing until this picture popped up. I have to be honest.
There you go.
But again, when the insurance company turns around and says, how bad or how did this happen?
Yes.
When your picture and stuff is all over social media and on the news and everything like that, I mean, I think the insurance company have to say, well, yes, actually, that did happen.
I have to say this. Well, this is this was in a time before there were such things as Dashcam and all that kind of thing. So I suppose a BBC film crew with evidence of your incident would help the claim no end, I suspect.
Yeah. Now, Nev, you've got the next story, and we haven't touched on this subject for a while on the show, but it's not going to happen in our lifetime, I don't think. But
oh no, I thought it was all happening. I thought it was all happening next year, and it was all
Well,
no, maybe not. Maybe not. This is on aviationweek.com, and it says that Saudi Arabia's NEOM Investment Fund, the financing group associated with the Saudi Smart City development, has confirmed finalisation of a strategic investment in high-speed airliner developer Boom Supersonic. Although no details of the NIF investment have been disclosed, Boom says that the Saudi group forms part of a recently closed financing round, which brings the company's total funding to more than $700 million. Boom expects the Middle East and Saudi Arabia in particular to be a key player in the supersonic market, for which it's developing the Mach 1.7 Overture airliner. The NIF supports several advanced transport projects and concepts, which could feature in future infrastructure for the $500 billion NEOM Red Sea project, a broad initiative which has been launched as part of Saudi Arabia's Vision 2030, a project designed to diversify its economy away from oil. Under NEOM, Saudi planners are building a series of huge resorts, industrial complexes and airports on the country's northwest coast. In October, NIF also announced it had made the single largest investment in US electric sea glider development, Regent's $60 million Series A round. Regent will establish a Middle East R&D and training hub at the Smart City development and conduct on-site testing to prepare for passenger and freight transport operations along 290 miles of Red Sea coastline starting by the middle of the decade. Boom, meanwhile, says that it successfully completed its conceptual design review of the Symphony propulsion system in advance of the first hardware rig tests planned for 2024. The new centerline engine is under development by a Boom-led industry team, including Kratos subsidiary, Florida Turbine Technologies, GE Additive and Standard Aero. The two-spool £35,000 thrust medium bypass turbofan is planned to be equipped with a single-stage 72-inch diameter fan and be optimised for prolonged supersonic operation with an air-cooled single-stage high-pressure turbine and a three-stage low-pressure turbine. The Symphony's compressor will consist of a six-stage high-pressure unit and a three-stage low-pressure section. The supersonic inlet, diffuser and exhaust design is crafted to meet Chapter 14 noise levels. Well, Boom's XB-1 subscale demonstrator is meanwhile poised to make its first flight at Mojave in California, following a recent completed flight readiness review. The aircraft has conducted runway runs up to 90 knots, as well as ground vibration mode testing, fuel system integration testing, and engine operability testing. I think we've got a while to go.
Yeah.
Haven't we?
Yeah, I don't think this is going to be in the next sort of 5 year, well, probably not even 10 years, never, I think.
I mean,
Yes.
I know we've said this before, and you know, I'll say it again. I still cannot get my head round the fact that, and I know it was an aging aircraft, and you know, I guess it sort of served its purpose and stuff, but I don't think they were having trouble filling it. Concorde, I mean, I'm just so surprised that there wasn't an alternative in place ready to take over, like within a year of Concorde being taken out of service.
Well, there's many different situations with supersonic travel, and of course, once you get through that difficult part of the envelope, sort of Mach 1.7, something like that, where Concorde needed afterburners to get through that period, it was able to main Mach 2 on just dry power thrust without any afterburners at all.
Right.
Otherwise, it would never have made it across the Atlantic because of the fuel burn. Now, obviously, in this situation, fuel is a lot more expensive now than it ever was, and they're trying to find ways of doing this more economically. You've got to bear in mind that Concorde's initial development was in the late 50s and early 60s, and it wasn't until 1976 until it went into full passenger service. So that was a very long time indeed. So obviously they're trying to shorten this period, but it will not be without its challenges, I'm sure. But you know, I'm keen to keep an eye on it to see what's happening with it. But
we look forward to be proved wrong that it won't happen in our lifetime, essentially.
Quite, yes, yes,
indeed.
So.
Now, we're going to move on to the next story here. And Carlos, I think we need to have a little bit of a chat with producer Nick here, because I'm beginning to worry about his obsession with a particular pop star is becoming potentially a concern, if I'm honest with you. I never ever thought that I would be on the Plain Talking UK podcast talking about an artist that we feature on Park Radio quite regularly.
Yes, I know.
But anyway, here we go. It's CNBC.com. She's got lovely eyes, apparently. And the headline is Taylor Swift's postponed Argentina show prompts airline to waive flight change fees. I love how he's managed to tie it loosely to an aviation story. I'm very proud of him. Like hurricanes, blizzards, or wildfires, Taylor Swift is now prompting an airline to waive ticket change fees. The pop star said she was postponing a show in Argentina's capital scheduled for Friday until Sunday because of heavy rain, writing on X, the platform formerly known as Twitter. Due to the weather being so truly chaotic, it would be unsafe to try and put on this concert. The Chile account of LATAM Airlines, the largest carrier in South America, reached out to customers on X, attention Swifties, it said, we know the planes, we know your planes changed. So starting today, we are updating our flexibility policy for those with flights to Buenos Aires for Saturday or Sunday. The Chi-based carrier said it is waiving both ticket change fees and differences in fare if travellers can fly anytime until November the 17th, after Swift's show at Argentina's largest stadium was postponed. Some customers complained to LATAM on social media. However, they were having trouble finding seats, and the carrier told them the waiver too late, essentially. The carrier didn't immediately comment on whether it is adding additional flights. Airlines routinely add extra flights for events like high-profile concerts, conferences like CES or sports, but a change fee waiver when a concert is cancelled or is postponed is very unusual, industry executives told CNBC, and is also a sign of how much her tour drives bookings. While it might be a new era for airline waivers, the Eras tour has impacted other industries like hotels as well. So
it's a nice gesture.
I mean, I must admit, I'm very surprised that there are enough people flying out to Argentina to, exclusively to see said concert that would prompt an airline to adjust their situation. Now, is it because perhaps it's actually a smaller number than you think, and it's a goodwill gesture, like for those people? Or...
Do you know what it is, Matt?
Yeah, go on.
It's bloody good PR.
Well, there is that.
That, I
suppose.
They're the PR teams are probably jumping all over this, and it's all good advertising for the airline. And when people think back to this in 6 months' time, oh yeah, do you remember what they did? Do you remember?
I don't know.
I mean, I can't see BA doing this, but
I mean, unless it's Nev Bounds, of course, in which case, obviously.
Well, you see, I'm not up to date with the latest stuff. Obviously, I thought that Taylor...
You have. I can say you've heard of her, though, surely.
Well, no, I thought it was a building construction company.
Right. Okay.
Taylor Wimpey, isn't it? So, yeah.
Well, quite. Yes, absolutely. Yes, amen to that, I think.
Oh dear, Mr. Bounds.
Sorry.
Oh dear!
Indeed. Yes.
As he sits there with his Backstreet Boys CD in his hand.
She has many a song with a pleasant melody, Nev.
Yes. No, indeed. I'm sure.
Now, Nev, you have got the next story, and it's somewhere where I actually did say this week I blinking well wish that we would have gone to this year, but hopefully, Nev, we'll be going back soon.
I know, yes, it's the Dubai Air Show, isn't it, at the moment? And our good friend Petter from Mentor Pilot has published this. And it says that, in fact, Boeing is taking a strong lead in aircraft orders. And as we know, the Dubai Air Show is underway. But Boeing has really raised the bar, comfortably outselling Airbus. But could this change? Well, it's fair to say that Airbus got the better of Boeing in a few different ways recently, including sales at air shows. Certainly, Airbus got the lion's share of aircraft in sales in Paris during the summer, largely thanks to orders from India. But Boeing looks to reverse this trend at the Dubai Air Show. The American manufacturer recorded sales of small numbers of 787s with Royal Jordanian Airlines, 4 jets, and Royal Air Morocco 2 jets. But both of these airliners already have orders for 787s. Boeing also recorded some significant single-aisle aircraft orders on the first day of the Dubai Air Show. The main one is from Sun Express, which is a joint venture between Turkish Airlines and Lufthansa. Sun Express will get 28 737-8s and 17 737-10s. So that's 45 737s in total. Sun Express deal also includes options for another 45 737s. The airline already had an order for 42 737-8s before the show. Separately, Egypt Air ordered 18 737-8s, but this is an agreement between the airline and a lessor, Air Lease, rather than Boeing. But unquestionably, the most notable Boeing success on the first day of the show involved the home airlines, Emirates and Fly Dubai. The latter is getting 30 787-9s. And as for Emirates, it's getting 5 extra 787s and modifying some existing orders for the same type. Instead of another 30 787-9s, Emirates will now get 20 -8s and 10 -10s. But the biggest news for Emirates involves an aircraft that the airline has been so frustrated by, which is the 777X. Now, Emirates and Boeing announced a deal on the first day of the show for no less than 90 more 777Xs. This increases the total order the airline has for the type to 205 aircraft, and even more interestingly, only 55 of these will be 777-9s. That's a lot of aircraft, isn't it?
It is.
The other 35 jets will be 777-8s. For some time now, the fate of the smaller 777X variant was unclear, but since the launch of the 777-8F cargo variant, the passenger 777-8 seemed to get lower priority than the freighter. And this order confirms that Emirates will still be getting that variant, and they confirmed that it expects to start picking up its first -9s in 2025, which will be about 5 years late. But crucially, Airbus was reportedly left waiting for an Emirates order for the A350 that never came. Now, we'll have to wait until the end of the show, however, but for now, Airbus is lagging well behind Boeing at the Dubai Air Show, with only one order for 30 A220-300s from Air Baltic. Now, there are suggestions that Airbus was expecting to announce a very large order from Turkish Airlines. Various news outlets had leaked information involving orders for 90 A350s, 250 A321neos, and 5 A350 freighters. But Airbus now says that the two parties will officially announce agreement in the coming days. This likely means that the order will come after the Dubai Air Show and could see Airbus resigning to second place behind Boeing. But it's still an order for up to 355 new aircraft from a customer that buys both Airbus and Boeing airliners. Well, there's more good news for Boeing away from the air show. This one's got to do with deliveries rather than orders, and it involves China. Well, a brewing deal between the US and China could finally see the restart of 737 MAX deliveries to the country. Some will also expect orders for single-aisle Boeings from China, something that hasn't been seen since 2017. But in any case, this news from the Dubai Air Show has pulled Boeing shares up by 4%, with Tier 1 supplier Spirit Aerosystem also seeing significant gains. As we know, it's not just about the manufacturers, it's all the supply chain that goes with it as well. But there's some eye-watering numbers in there, isn't there?
There is. And I must say that I feel like this is bucking the trend a bit, because I mean, it's been quite a sort of solid run for Airbus for quite a while, actually, in terms of like orders and stuff. I mean, as you say, I wonder whether we should sort of, you know, keep our powder dry until sort of the end of the show, really, because. But yeah, I mean, I suppose the other issue is like for Emirates, for example, one of the things they have been struggling with is the fact that the 380 has sort of stopped service, and that's really the big thing, wasn't it, that they were having from Airbus. And there isn't. I mean, the 350 is quite big, isn't it? But it's still not. You know, it's still not at the levels of the 380, is it? And
no, I feel a return visit to the Dubai Air Show, Carlos. Don't you?
I think we should definitely book to go for the next one, Nev, because we had a great time. We had a really good time at the Dubai Air Show. It's a long old way to go. There's no doubt about that. But we got some great content, and I think it's safe to say, Nev, we definitely didn't have to worry about the weather.
No,
over there.
No, you probably had to worry about poor Nev and, you know, the colour he went, but
the beetroot factor, yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, just put him in a special sun protective hazmat suit. He'll be fine. It's just
well, actually, Nev fully utilised the A380's wing when we were there, didn't you, Nev?
Oh, I did. Yeah, I was parked underneath that, and it's a very effective sun block, I have to say. I enjoyed being under there very much. But yeah, even at this time of year, it was, well, what was it, 38, 39 degrees at times, wasn't it? So yeah, pretty warm. But great air show though, and superb access. It's actually, I would say, out of all the air shows we've been to, unbelievably, Dubai has been the most accommodating in terms of press accreditation and just getting all the documentation done. It was an absolute breeze, and people were very welcoming when we were there as well, which was brilliant.
Indeed. Well, I mean, it's you've definitely got to go back. I think it's one of the shows, isn't it, that is just out of this world, isn't it? And if you love your commercial aviation, I mean, there is really only, it's sort of really the big one now, isn't it?
Yeah, I think globally now that is, Matt. Yeah, I mean, there are some military presence there at the Dubai Air Show. There are some military aircraft, but it is predominantly commercial aircraft that are there. Obviously, Airbus and Boeing, are the two big players there every year. But it's a shame it's not a public event. You see, that is the one thing that you must remember about the Dubai Air Show. It is not open to the general public. It is purely for traders, aircraft manufacturers and
media,
to go to. But it's a shame because it is a damn good air show to go to. But anyway, we'll look forward to that next. What's it? Every 2 years, isn't it? Every 2 years?
I think it is, isn't it? Yes. Yeah.
So moving on to the next story. This is an interesting website, uknip.co.uk. Where we go for all our stories here on PTUK.
Apparently so.
Boeing 737-800 aircraft incident at Navegantes Ministro Victor Conde International Airport. Say that after a few scotches.
He thinks if he uses an accent, Nev, that it makes the pronunciation right.
Yeah, you get away with it.
All right. You'll be saying it's Scorchio next.
Oh, indeed.
Anyway, in an unusual incident, a Gol Linus Aéreas Boeing 737-800 aircraft.
He's doing it again, isn't he?
Registration Papa Romeo Golf X-Ray Tango experienced a hazardous situation as it accelerated on runway 25 at the airport this week. Layers of asphalt from the end of the runway were dislodged and blown in the air, with some pieces falling onto the aircraft's horizontal stabilizer.
Oh, wow.
Oh dear. The incident occurred during the plane's acceleration phase for takeoff. Fortunately, it appears there were no reports of injuries or significant damage to the aircraft. The incident raised concerns over runway maintenance and aircraft safety at the airport. Airport authorities have not yet provided details detailing the statement regarding the incident. However, it's expected that a thorough investigation will be conducted to ascertain the cause of the dislodgement of the runway surface and to assess any potential risks to future flights. Well, obviously they just used a few bags of stuff from Screwfix and sort of stamped it in, didn't they?
Right. Wow. Okay.
Rodrigo Feici, a witness on the scene, captured footage of the incident, which provides valuable insights into the sequence of events. His documentation is likely to be a crucial piece of evidence to the investigation. The occurrence brings to light significant questions regarding runway maintenance protocols at the airport and the airport ensuring integrity of runway services is critical to aircraft safety, particularly during takeoff and landing phases. The airport authorities, in conjunction with GOL Airlines and aviation safety officials, are expected to conduct the investigation, which will include examining the runway's condition and the aircraft's response to the debris and any potential need for immediate remedial actions to prevent similar incidents. Now, do you remember a few years back, Nev, there was, I think it made local news, there was that air show somewhere, I think, where one of the aircraft put full thrust on for takeoff and ended up blowing large pieces of air the runway. Do you remember seeing that one, Nev? I'm sure it was.
Yes, I do, and it made quite a job of it too, didn't it? But of course, the power of these engines, inevitably, unless it's all. Unless the runway's in good condition, can lead to all sorts of problems.
I think as well with in this particular, obviously in this country, it's obviously a lot warmer than it is here in the UK. So we all know what happens to our surfaces, road surfaces here in the UK when we get more than
they crumble and disappear. That's what.
Yeah, exactly. 20-degree heat here. The surfaces go crazy.
20?
But obviously, Yeah, I know. But obviously, I think we have a similar incident to this not so long back at Heathrow, Nev? Was it Heathrow or Gatwick where they had to shut because of the runway surface?
Yeah, it was Gatwick.
Yeah.
And if you're not old enough to remember 1976, are you?
The year that me and Mr. Smith were born?
Yes,
Correct.
indeed. Well, I was, how old was I then? I would have been 15 then, 14, 15.
Oh.
That was the hottest summer we had for a very long time. And the road surfaces just turned to molten, basically.
Yeah,
It was unbelievable.
Yes, Mother does remind me constantly that she was carrying me at the worst possible time. That's my excuse, and I'm sticking to it.
Are you saying I'm old enough to be your mother?
No, not at all. Not at all, dear. Not at all.
Now, Nev, moving on swiftly before we upset each other. Yes, this particular story...
It's got my name on it, this one.
Well, it's got Matt's
Oh,
name.
Matt, yeah, sorry, Matt.
Yeah,
It's-
okay.
it's-
All right. I mean, you can have it if you like, Nev.
No, I don't. No, I don't know. This particular story, I saw this as well, and I listened to the reconstruction on the old website there, the Live ATC website.
Fascinating.
I thought this was quite interesting actually when I saw this was in there, because the amount of this that goes on a daily basis, especially over in the Middle East, this is the first one I've heard for quite some time.
Okay, all right. I'm not convinced. I don't know. Okay, all right. So independent.co.uk, is that correct?
It certainly is.
Yeah, okay, all right. So it's the headline is Boeing 747 is forced to turn back to JFK after a horse breaks loose on board. Okay. Is this an emotional support animal? Is that what's anyway?
Good Lord, no.
Yeah, a flight had to be diverted back to its origin airport after a horse became loose in the cargo hold. The incident, which happened shortly after takeoff from New York's JFK airport, forced the Boeing 747 to turn back from Boston. The flight, operated by specialist charter airline Air Atlanta Icelandic, had been bound for Liège in Belgium. A reconstruction of the incident uploaded to YouTube on a channel named You Can See ATC, the information which cannot be independently verified, claims the incident on flight number Charlie Charlie 4592 happened shortly after 4:06 p.m. local time. That's 9:06 p.m. GMT on the 9th of November. It adds that the pilot reported the incident of the horse getting loose at around about 31,000 feet, requesting that they be allowed to return to New York as the crew were unable to get the horse secured. The pilots, that's going to be one angry horse, one terrified horse. I can only imagine the potential damage to the aircraft. The pilots landed back at JFK after dumping 20 tons of fuel. They also requested the help of a veterinarian, as the horse was described as being in difficulty, though it is not clear what happened to the animal. Flight Radar 24 shows the flight taking off again at 6:35 p.m. local time. That's 11:35 p.m. and landing successfully in Liège after roughly 6 hours at 6:49 a.m. local time. That's 5:49 a.m. GMT on the morning of the 10th of November. The Independent has contacted Air Atlanta Icelandic for comment. It may be one of the stranger reasons for a flight diversion, though unscheduled landings are fairly common. In July, a mid-air brawl between passengers, now we're talking, caused one flight to make a landing 700 miles away from its intended destination. In October, a flight bound for Tampa in Florida had to return to Panama after an adult nappy was mistaken for a bomb. I'll leave that one with you, Nev. While earlier in November, an Air New Zealand flight was forced to turn back after 4 hours due to a technical issue. I'm sure there's a very good reason why a nappy was confused for a bomb.
This must have been quite. I mean, having horses that have been in our family. My dad has got a horse. You know, I've seen how annoyed they can get.
Oh
horses. And to have this on board an aircraft, albeit on the 747, I know the 747 is not the smallest of aircraft. I know the cargo holds are not small either, but I would imagine these would have been in some form of kind of like a
crate or something.
A crate, Nev, I suppose, wouldn't they, on these? Yeah. But to have that level of angerment,
that power,
on a flight would not be. And yeah, as you know, exactly, Matt. Yeah, the amount of power that these horses can push in. You know, it's yeah. I would say that good call. Get the aircraft down ASAP.
There was a documentary on UK television a number of years ago, which was talking about transporting horses to and from the Middle East and how they went about the operation. And this did actually happen on one of those occasions as well. And from visually speaking, it's absolutely frightening when the loadmaster and the vet and the people who look after the horses have to try and contain this situation. It's just horrific. And of course they lash out, and it's highly dangerous for the people on board.
Everybody involved,
Yeah.
We'll have to ask John Jester.
Yes, probably wasn't in seat 1A though either. That was the other thing. That's probably why he's got cross.
Yeah, I mean it's
or her. Yeah.
Yeah, indeed. Well, what would you expect?
Angry about the mid-flight snacks.
Right. Yes. Not quite enough hay on board. I think that'll be what it is. Yeah, exactly.
Yes. Anyway, moving on. Next story, a bit chilly this one. This fits in quite well with the current temperatures that are here in the UK at the moment. This is on the paddleyourown.canoe.com.
Now, I thought this was a joke website.
No, they're very popular, Matt, for aviation-related stories, yeah.
Okay.
This is all about the Dreamliner and flying to Antarctica to drop off Norwegian researchers. Norse Atlantic operated the first Boeing 787 Dreamliner to Antarctica to drop off Norwegian researchers. Now, the pictures of these are stunning. Norse Atlantic has become the first airline ever to fly a Dreamliner to Antarctica after flying from Cape Town to South Africa down to Troll Research Station on the frozen continent. The special charter landed on the 3,300-metre long runway at Troll Airfield at around 2 a.m. last Friday morning, following the 5-hour flight from Cape Town, following extensive preparations to make the airfield ready for such a large visitor. The 5-year-old aircraft was loaded up with scientists and logistics crew, along with essential equipment, cargo, Troll Research Station, as well as other stations across Antarctica. The Norwegian scientists started off their journey to Troll on Monday when they boarded the same Norse Atlantic 787 in Oslo for the 12-hour leg to Cape Town. After staying in South Africa for just over a day, they then made the much shorter hop down to Antarctica. The scientists are from the Norwegian Polar Institute, who will be hot water drilling through the Fimbulien ice shelf as part of their annual research. Norse Atlantic markets itself as a low-cost, long-haul airline with scheduled services from Europe to the United States, as well as Bangkok, but the carrier has also been hunting down charter opportunities, especially over the winter months, when leisure demand is across its schedule route network is typically weaker. Chief Executive Bjorn Tjor Larsen is confident he can make Norse's primary low-cost, long-haul strategy sustainably profitable, but the airline has just appointed independent strategic advisors to explore and guide the airline's future strategic directions. The appointment comes off the back of 2 different airlines approaching Norse with potential industrial opportunities. Now, it's safe to say, I think, Nev, when you're landing on an asphalt or tarmac runway, you probably don't have sort of to worry too much, apart from obviously your, the spoilers coming up and obviously your auto brakes and stuff working. But when you're landing on this sort of surface, I'd imagine it's quite tricky.
Yes, I wonder what the anti-lock braking systems do in these situations. I mean, these polar type operations are extremely challenging, I would imagine. And in fact, a customer of mine many years ago was the British Antarctic Survey in Cambridge, and they're still going to this day, and they run a fleet of Dash 7s and Twin Otters, so not the same sort of legs that these guys and girls are flying, and they were telling me how challenging those operations are, purely because of the extremely low temperatures. But you've got some big iron landing and taking off on these surfaces here, But no, it's interesting, isn't it? How they've managed to do it. But because they've got quite a long runway, then that does allow for a bit of margin. And I would have thought as well with this 787, the landing speeds are a little bit lower as well. So it's not as though you're coming steaming in. Of course, well, it depends on what the weather's like, but you can get quite benign conditions here as well, so that probably helps. But if you don't want to start, I mean, there must be some very strict crosswind limits, I would imagine, in this situation, because you don't want to be making a mess of that, do you?
I just love the picture that we've got on the show notes here of that Norse sitting on that. Then look how neat and perfectly, groomed that area is there on the ground. It's
No, phenomenal.
It is really great. Oh, awesome picture. Love that.
Yeah. Excellent.
Lev, we've got some BA news.
Well, about time, isn't it? We've had to wait till story 8 for it, but here it is. It's on aviationsourcenews.com, and it says the British Airways A320 has been spotted at London Heathrow in the new One World livery, with this aircraft the latest to be painted in the special scheme. The carrier has been a member of the Alliance since February 1999, of which the airline was one of the founding members, alongside American Airlines, Canadian Airlines, Cathay Pacific and Qantas. It's understood that this aircraft, which is a Golf Echo Uniform Yankee Romeo, is the British Airways A320 that's been painted into the One World livery. This aircraft is the first narrow-body aircraft in the airline's fleet to be painted, and as per the data from planespotters.net, this aircraft is a 10-year-old A320 that was delivered to BA back in November 2013. The aircraft left the paint shop in Shannon this week at 1 o'clock and proceeded eastbound to Heathrow, where the aircraft landed at 13:54. Upon return to the BA hub, the aircraft have been returned into commercial service very quickly, with the aircraft already operating the BA 826 rotation to Dublin from London. Looking ahead, it'll be interesting to see whether any more of the narrow bodies in the airline's fleet will be painted into this special One World colour scheme. Typically, the carrier has painted them on their wide-body long-haul aircraft, so this definitely represents a change for sure. I seem to remember a 747 being painted in a One World livery as well back in the day. Yeah, looks very smart indeed. So,
But it's not handy if you get a little chance to go on that, Nev, at some point, do you think?
It'd be nice, wouldn't it? Yes. I did go on the retro livery A319 as well once.
Did they change the interior as well, Neville? Or was it just literally a paint job?
No. That was the slightly disappointing thing, of course, because when you're on the inside of the aircraft, it doesn't look any different.
True, yeah.
It's only when you get out and look back, you go, yes. No, it's good to see them doing some different paint schemes.
Now, I do like this story, Matt. To end the commercial news this week, you've got a story which I found earlier on this week, which I thought was quite nice. I thought, I wish I'd have caught this. Never seem to catch these special deals.
No, I don't think any of us do. We're just not lucky enough, are we? That's the trouble. TheIndependent.co.uk is the site for this one. And the headline: airline sells flights for £1 by mistake, but says it will honour those tickets. So China Southern Airlines has said it will honour all tickets bought for as little as £1.12. That's 12 yuan during the... have I said that right? No, it is yet. Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. During a system glitch on the evening of the 9th of November, tickets to the southwestern city of Chengdu, which lies almost 3 hours away from the Chinese capital Beijing, suddenly appeared at the reduced prices on the mobile app and some booking platforms, and were available for around about 2 hours. Reuters reports that customers began sharing screenshots of the low fares at around 8 p.m. local time, 12 p.m. GMT. The pictures show fares as low as 10, 20 or 30 yang between £1.12 and £3.37. The usual minimum price for these flights is around 4 to 500 yen, which is 44 to 56 pounds. But the airline said it would honour the mistake fares. All flight tickets that have been paid and issued during the system glitch will be valid, and travellers can use them normally, China Southern Airlines told Bloomberg. The Independent has contacted China Southern Airways for further comment. The incident happened during China's busiest online shopping period, which takes place every year in November, known as Singles Day. This Black Friday equivalent peaks on the 11th of November. Reuters reports that the total value of goods sold in this period last year was around 1.15 trillion yen, or 1.29 billion pounds. Ooh. Southern China Airlines recently rolled out an all-you-can-fly scheme for frequent flyers that is valid for journeys to other countries in Asia. This most recent ticket blunder follows similar incidences around the world. In April, All Nippon Airways, a major Japanese carrier, suffered a glitch on its Vietnam website that meant one passenger grabbed a flight worth £13,000 for just £715. The same glitch meant that one man was able to buy $250,000 worth of tickets for just $17,000. It was later reported that the airline decided it would not honour the accidentally discounted tickets.
But didn't we covered a story? I'm sure we covered a story in the past on this show where an airline had a similar kind of glitch, and they didn't honour anything. They literally said, no, we made a mistake, but we're not going to honour anything sold to anyone for the ridiculous price. Whereas this airline has said they are, as you said, Matt, they're going to honour all the tickets brought for as little as £1.12.
I mean, I guess it depends on how long it took before the incident was picked up, I guess, because you think sometimes the PR that goes with these things is well worth the punt, if you'll excuse the phraseology. But
imagine though booking a business. I don't know whether China Southern Airlines has a first class. I know they have a business class, but imagine booking yourself a business class ticket and paying
not very much money. Yeah. Indeed. Yeah, I wonder if I could
with all
grab
the BA IT glitches, you'd think that there might be something, coming my way, like a good deal. But funny enough, the IT glitches never seem to be with regard to the price. No. It's always to do with the app or, booking the thing in the first place. But now, whether they would ever honour such a thing, I have my doubts, I have to say.
Nice. A very good evening to Oscar, by the way. He's busy watching us on his TV. He's not in the chat room anymore. He's been a good boy and gone to bed as told, but he's watching us on his TV until around about 8:30. So there you are.
Oh, well done, Oscar.
Indeed. So, well, there we go.
That's the commercial news roundup for this week. Just frantic look. Just going to have a quick check on China Southern Airlines. See if they.
Yeah.
I should stress they were internal flights, by the way, Carlos. So you do have that small issue of needing to get there in the first place.
Cool. Can you imagine if Ryanair had a similar issue? How cheap could their flights go? I mean, they're already.
They're not as cheap as they were.
We saw a video this week of a slightly disgruntled Ryanair passenger, which we cannot
possibly play on air. No, absolutely not. Certainly not while Oscar's still up. Anyway, that's the.
I found it extremely funny.
Yes, I bet you did. Yes, indeed.
Dirk Guess is saying, Nev, seat 1A for £1.
Oh,
no,
1A for £1.
Wouldn't that be lovely? Yes. Yeah. Can you imagine?
I'll tell you what, I reckon even you'd be up for going on flights every week, Matt, at that price.
I might risk it, yeah, absolutely.
Quid a flight?
Risk it for a biscuit, yeah.
I know. It's time in the show for our Caption This, just for fun part of the show. It's your chance to leave your witty comments on a picture that we post on our social media page on Facebook every Wednesday. This week, the picture got a few interesting comments. Nev, what would be your description of this week's Caption This picture?
Well, I would say it's an A380, but it's been equipped with propellers from an A400M, by the looks of things.
I mean, I don't think that would get off the ground, would it?
I would love to see it.
Just need a lot of runway. Although, of course, propellers are actually very good in terms of producing lift over the wings, but that's on a small aircraft, not an aircraft of this sort of size. But we were not short of excellent suggestions. Now, I don't have those in front of me.
No, me neither. They haven't come through to me either, unfortunately. So it's just down to you, I'm afraid.
Okay, fair enough.
I'll play the music. You carry on.
From kicking off this week, he's in the chat room from Mr. Sturman. He says, introducing the new A380P, a.k.a. Prop-pocalypse. I see what you did there. Very good.
Yeah.
John Luke says Airbus have made hearing test for employees mandatory after an engineer said he was and the show notes have just disappeared.
Okay.
Well, that's unhelpful, isn't that?
Oh.
Okay, I'll have to bring that up on the Facebook feed then, because all mine have just disappeared.
Lovely.
So,
we'll chat amongst ourselves, shall we, Nev, while he's doing
chat amongst yourselves while I bring those back up on my screen again.
Dear.
Is it just me, or has OneNote been a slight pain in the...
It's been challenging, I think, the last couple of days. We'll get John to look at it next time he's got a
Anyway, so
minutes.
John Luke says Airbus have made hearing tests for employees mandatory after an engineer said he was popping to the shop. Management came in the next morning to find an A380 had been converted to a turboprop.
I mean, it would certainly be noisy.
Michael, he says props to Airbus for trying something new.
I see.
Very good. Our very own Captain Nick says, at last, the new C-130 Hercules has truly earned its name. Fat Albert.
Well, quite, yes, indeed.
The lovely Jenny in Rome, she says Logan Air increases capacity on its route from Glasgow to the island of Barra with a beach landing. Now, I'd love to see that, Jenny. That might be an interesting beach landing.
Dusty, I think, is the word you're looking for.
Dirk, he's saying, Tim Clark asked for Airbus, Tim Clark asked Airbus for a proper A380 replosement.
I see. Yeah.
Dari says 4 burning, 4 turning, 0 burning. Very good, Dari.
I like that. Yeah.
And to finish off, Elliot continues with the puns. Elliot says that's a proper airplane there.
Wow. Okay. All right. Nev, is there anything in the old chat room?
I'm glad you asked me that question. And
Sorry.
yes,
it's all going very smoothly this evening.
Wasn't fully prepared for that situation. But let's just have a quick look and see.
I'm trying to get it to up here. Everything's all gone horribly wrong.
Yes. Lee Davis says, who saw the Blackpool beach landing? That was in connection with something entirely different. Captain Cruz. 2032, old A380 airframes used to produce green wind energy.
As you do. Okay, I think we're going to abandon the technology today. It's not. None of it's playing ball,
just before we move on, I'd like to see this concept to see if it would actually work.
I'd love to see them try. See if
as Nev said, the A400M has packs a serious amount of power from its engines.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Perhaps we'll put this idea forward to Airbus, Nev, see if they pick up on the idea.
Yes.
Can you imagine?
I know.
Oh, well.
Anyway, moving on to the next part of the show. Don't forget, later on we have got the results of our quiz, so make sure you stay tuned. What was the prize again this week, Nev?
Oh, the prize is Mike Bannister's audiobook, All About Concord. And I should be sharing that because I've actually bought it and I've listened to it twice now. There's 48 chapters in there, absolutely phenomenal stuff, and Mike does a brilliant job, as you would expect. So I'm going to share that with whoever gets picked out of the hat later on.
Ooh. But first, it's time for the grey part of the show. Yes, Nev's favourite part of the show, and Armando's little baby here. It is, of course, the military segment. So, Nev, shall we start?
Yes, let's do it.
Blast up bogeys 135, 50, Angel 16, heading 340. Okay. 108 bogeys.
So the first news story in the military segment this week comes to us from defencenews.com. And thanks to Jonathan Warner for sending this one as well. Also comes with some great pictures as well. I hope Matt's got these. This is all about the new B-21 Raider taking its first test flight. So the B-21 Raider took its first test flight last Friday, moving the futuristic warplane closer to becoming the nation's next nuclear weapons stealth bomber. The Raider flew in Palmdale, California, where it's been under testing and development by Northrop Grumman. The Air Force is planning to build 100. That's an interesting number to build, 100, nice round number, of these warplanes, which will have a flying wing shape much like their predecessor, the B-2 Spirit, but will incorporate advanced materials, propulsion and stealth technology to make them more survivable in future conflicts. The plane is planned to be produced in variants with and without pilots. The B-21 Raider is in its flight testing stage, said Air Force spokeswoman Anne Stefanik. Such testing is a critical step in the campaign to provide survivable long-range and penetrating strike capabilities and deter aggression and strategic attacks against the US, its allies and partners, Stefanik said. The Air Force's first B-21 Raiders is shown in the pictures which Matt has got on there at Plant 42 in Palmdale, California, where Northrop Grumman is building the service's new stealth bomber fleet. The B-21 Raider is the first new American bomber aircraft in more than 30 years, and almost every aspect of the program is classified. But both Northrop Grumman and the Air Force have tried to protect the program's details to prevent China from gaining access to the weapons technology and building a similar version, as it has with other US advanced weapons systems like the F-35 Joint Strike Fighter. The B-21 is part of the Pentagon's efforts to modernise all three legs of its nuclear triad, which includes silo-launched nuclear ballistic missiles, submarine-launched warheads, as it invests in new weapons to meet China's rapid military modernisation. And Northrop Grumman Corp is based in Falls Church, Virginia. I've got to say, this when I see these pictures, this just reminds me of the opening kind of half an hour of Top Gun Maverick.
Right.
Yeah. Which you've seen, haven't you, Matt?
Yes, I have now. Yes, I have. Yes.
Correct
yes,
answer.
Yes.
Thank
okay.
you. But no, thanks, Mr. Warner, for sending that through. Very much appreciated indeed. Now, Nev, would you like to take the next one here from the aviationist.com?
Yes, this is an interesting one, if you're into military. South Korean firm KAI unveiled a refined roadmap for the development of the MCX multi-role tactical transport aircraft. Last week, Seoul's biennial show, ADEX 2023, happened at the largest scale so far. Whilst many South Korean indigenous platforms such as the KF-21 and LAH took the spotlight, a small prototype went largely unnoticed by the general public. During the event that took place from the 17th to the 22nd of October, Korean Airspace Industries unveiled its new development roadmap for its future multi-role transport with the MCX. With this, the efforts for the private firm's commitments to the project become solid. KAI has started internal development of the MCX in 2021 in anticipation of replacing the Republic of Korea's Air Force CN-235 and C-130H fleet. Currently, the Korean Air Force operates a total of 4 C-130J-30s, 12 C-130Hs, 4 of which are C-130H-30s, and 18 CN-235 as their airlift force. It's currently expected that the C-130H fleet will retire in 2025, and the CN-235 to follow shortly in 2040. As of now, there are no official plans set by the Ministry of National Defence to find a replacement. However, KAI seems to be eyeing on the ageing fleet and hopes that its indigenous solution will be more attractive, will be a more attractive answer than acquiring a foreign platform. Whilst the first scale model of the MCX design was unveiled at the DX Korea 2022 exhibition, several design changes have been made to the aircraft since. Currently, the aircraft is planned as a twin-jet engine tactical airlift platform with a maximum takeoff weight of 103 tonnes and a maximum payload capacity of 30 tonnes. The cargo bay dimensions are 3.5 metres wide, 3.4 metres high and 17 metres long. This will accommodate a total of 9 463L master pallets. In terms of aircraft size, the airframe is expected to be in between the Embraer C390 and Kawasaki C2. The MCX is said to have a range of over 7,000 kilometres, making it the longest reaching aircraft in its class. The aircraft is expected to utilise a power plant roughly equating to the General Electric CF6. In terms of cargo, the aircraft has a capacity of 92 combat troops or 72 paratroopers, while the maximum payload weight prohibits the platform to carry the K9 howitzer. The cargo hold can house the smaller M109 based K55A1. Alternatively, the cargo has hold capacity for the transport of either a single AH-64 or UH-60 helicopter with its rotor blades removed.
It looks good.
Yes, it does, doesn't it? Yes.
Yeah. I like the look of this, and it's
yeah.
The only thing I think there is that we see all these concept aircraft like this and that on the show, not just military but commercial as well. But it seems to be forever until we see these things actually in the flesh.
The development, the design and development and testing time of these things is lengthy, isn't it? Definitely.
Yeah, it is.
So Matt, put my teeth in. Matt, do you want the next story?
Yeah, indeed. It's airandSpaceForces.com. That is the website, and the headline is Kendall reveals secret X-plane program paved the way for NGAD. Don't know what that is, but I'm sure somebody out there does. There was a secret multi-agency X-plane program to explore future fighters that paved the way for the next generation, see what they did there, generation air dominance program. Air Force Secretary Frank Kendall revealed at the Politico Defence Summit on the 14th of November. Although Kendall and other Air Force officials have previously said that there were flying prototypes before current stage of the NGAD program, his new remarks provided more details about the highly classified project, including the agencies involved, some of the money spent, and the fact that the NGAD will control the uncrewed fighters escorting it. He also noted that the uncrewed collaborative combat aircraft program won't get started until the fiscal 2024 defence bill has been passed. The Air Force said in May that it expects to award an NGAD contract in 2024. Kendall had previously said the NGAD will cost multiple hundreds of millions of dollars per tail. Asked about what excites him most about the project, Kendall said that the inclusion of a family of systems in the program, which includes autonomous escort platforms, new weapons including the secret AIM-260 Joint Advanced Tactical Missile and off-board sensors. In 2024, when Kendall was Under Secretary of Defence for Acquisition, Technology and Logistics, we commissioned a study led by the Defence Advanced Research Projects Agency called the Dominance Initiative. He explained that study lasted a year or so, Kendall said, and recommended a family of systems to accompany the crewed fighter that will succeed the F-22. In 2015, we started the Next Generation Air Dominance X-Plane program, he said, which was funded for around about $1 billion. The costs were split, a third by DARPA, a third by the Air Force and a third by the Navy. That program produced some prototypes that were successful demonstrating the technologies we need. He said his use of the plural suggests that there were competitive designs in that stage of the project, but he did not disclose whether there were 2, 3 or more. Industry sources have said that Boeing and Lockheed Martin have been involved in NGAD, but Northrop Grumman, Chief Executive Officer Kathy Warden, recently said her company won't bid on the Air Force version of the program. However, she did indicate Northrop would pursue the Navy's counterpart, Advanced Fighter, which is also known as NGAD or F/AXX. The services have said that they are not attempting a joint program like the F-35. Former Air Force acquisition executive Will Roper revealed in 2020 that an NGAD prototype had flown, but didn't explain how many or what the flying demonstrators were. X-planes, the term X-planes, generally indicates platforms that are exploring new, previously unfielded technologies on the air platform, while a Y-plane is generally a prototype of a specific platform which, with some refinement, will finally go into production. Now, the story goes on, so I'm going to...
it does go on for quite some time.
I'm going to break it there. I will just read this little part, though. Additionally, that apparently the Air Force plans production of CCA Wingman drones by FY28. Kendall also added Air Force Secretary Frank Kendall said that he's waiting for Congress to approve his plan for several $1 billion over the next 5 years for the CCA program. The Air Force Secretary said today that the service intends to have the Wingman drones being developed under the Collaborative Combat Aircraft program in production, fingers crossed, by fiscal 2028. So it's a busy old time there. The only problem with that story for me really is there's a lot of sort of, there's a little. I mean, considering how many words are in this story, we essentially learned absolutely nothing about what was going on. So I'm sure if you're in the know, it was a fascinating thing. But
I always think I think the military stories, Matt, are always better told when there are a lot of pictures to be seen.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, no, I totally agree with you there. But as I say, it's the same thing, isn't it? It's like, there's random stuff going on, and there is something happening, but they can't tell us anything about it, which is not a surprise. Let's be honest.
No. You'd think with all these aircraft that they're designing and testing and designing and stuff, that there must be this endless vat of money somewhere that someone's got to fund all this. Testing and stuff.
Yeah.
Because it's not free, obviously. Nev's just hoping that Ford bring out and test a new ST, I think.
Well, that's all. Forget all that. That's long.
Oh
gone.
no, that's it.
It's
Yeah,
all electric stuff now, isn't it?
They're going to change the factory. Well, the Fiesta's already been discontinued, and the Focus will be discontinued in 2025. So yes, so I shall probably end up in one of those SUV type cars.
Oh, nice. Don't fancy a Tesla then?
Moving on. Unless it comes with a decent fire extinguisher.
Oh, my word.
However, we do have some breaking news to report.
Oh,
Now, we can't say many details about this, but one of our good friends of the show is on the BA aircraft tonight, and he's just shown me his boarding pass. And the most shocking thing about it is it's boarding Group 9.
There's a Group 9?
what?
That is not even on the aircraft, as far as I'm concerned.
That's in the hold, isn't it?
That's back at the gate. Unbelievable.
Sorry, that's in the APU housing, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, definitely. Yes, wouldn't catch Nev on a flight like that. Can you imagine? Oh,
blimey.
Group 9, Nev. Woof. Yeah. Oh, the heady heights. I mean, I was getting a nosebleed in Group 4. I'm not going to lie. Leave me alone. I've been reading very long military stories. Be nice.
Oh, bless. I know. Well, let's keep our fingers crossed that our resident military guru is back on the show next week.
Oh, I hope
Absolutely.
so.
Yes. Absolutely.
So, moving on to the next part of the show, Nev, it's time to hand things over to you.
Oh, it's the quiz, isn't it? Yes. Now, last week's question was, how much did each of the 7 final production Concords actually cost British Airways that they purchased? And we had lots of answers, but we've only got 3 correct answers.
Oh.
Now, the whole Concorde thing was, controversial in itself. And British Airways didn't really want to fly the aircraft at all, I don't think, but it was the British and French governments that forced BA and Air France to operate these things. So there was a transactional fee of £1 sterling to transfer the aircraft name from the British government to BA. And I think there was a similar arrangement for Air France as well. So the answer is £1 is what it cost them.
No.
How about that? In this hat, I have the correct answers. So we should have a quick rummage and let's see who is the winner. I say only 3 correct answers this week.
Oh,
so here we go. Let's see who the lucky person is. And it is Stephen Howland. If you can see that there on the screen.
Nice.
Well done, Stephen.
Nice.
Excellent job. I'm going to share with you my audiobook, which is, as I say, Mike Bannister's superb book about Concorde. It's got 48 separate chapters plus an epilogue, and it runs for nearly 13 hours.
Oh, wow.
It also contains 22 PDF pages all about Mike's aviation journey into the left-hand seat of the aircraft. It's narrated by Mike himself, and I think it's one of the best audiobooks I've ever bought.
Really?
Superb. And it's been published by Penguin Audio, and he's done a cracking job on it. Really, really good. And you learn... We kind of think we all know everything about Concorde, but he comes up with, things that a lot of people didn't know. I followed the aircraft myself for many years, and he came up with stuff that I had no idea about. So, but no, a really fascinating journey about not just about the aircraft itself, but Mike's personal aviation journey as well. And it makes for fascinating listening. So I've listened to it twice. Because I'm just so enthralled by it. So well done, Stephen. I've got your email address. I will share it. And if you've got a bit of iTunes or Apple Podcast, whatever it's called these days, you should be able to pick it up when I share it with you.
Nice.
What's up for grabs this week, Nev?
Well, it's a great question. And we don't have a quiz this week due to operational circumstances.
Yes, indeed. We've got a little discussion about what's happening next week. So we've decided to rest it basically for this week, and we'll be back with something bigger and better, I'm sure, next time round.
Yes, well, it's going to be time to wrap up the show soon, but first we'll have a little quick run round and a chat with you, Nev, as to what exciting things you've got going on in the world of flying.
Well, not much for next week, but I'm looking at my diary and it tells me that I'm in Brighton on Monday at our office, and then I start the long journey north on Tuesday, going via Derby and Middlesbrough, all the way up to Edinburgh, where I shall be there until Friday. So I won't be on the show next week, I'm afraid, folks, because I'll be driving back from Edinburgh at that time. But the following week, I shall be flying to Dublin, which I'm looking forward to. So I've got three and a half days there.
Love Dublin.
Be great. I'll also be getting the train down to where did I say I was going to?
Edinburgh?
No, from Dublin. I was getting the train down to Galway. That's right.
Oh, yes. Lovely.
Yes.
Lovely.
So it'll be a nice 2-hour drive on, 2-hour ride on the train down there. So
God's country down there. You'll love it.
It is, yes. So I'm looking forward to that very much. So yeah, that's me for the next couple of weeks. Yeah.
Love that. Lots of pictures, please. Love Galway.
Yep. Definitely.
Marvellous.
And a full report as well, Nav, when you get back, or regarding the flights.
Well, I hope we don't have any, poor behaviour, because I shall be,
It's a shame. This would have been a prime opportunity for a Ryanair experience.
Which I firmly believe me and Nev will get this in the bag in the new year.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we're going to have to do it, aren't we?
Yeah.
We think we know where we're going to go, don't we?
Yes, we do.
Oh, okay, lovely.
Yes.
Okay.
We've just got to make the timetable work somehow.
It'll work, Nev.
Yeah.
Don't you worry. I'm determined to try, and I emphasise the word "try" is about that big. If you've got a widescreen TV, try and get Nev into seat 1A on a Ryanair flight. I mean,
the contrast will be spectacular. There's no two ways about. That.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Matt, what are you doing next week apart from coming to visit me for dinner?
That'll probably be the highlight, to be honest with you. On the Friday, I'm going to be in the lovely market town of Eye, involved in an outside broadcast and switching on some Christmas lights in the town of Eye. So that's going to be lovely. Going to enjoy that. It's going to be a busy old weekend, and then on the Saturday it'll be Bungie's turn. So busy old time really. But other than that, just work, listening to calls, and making sure they're compliant. Blah blah blah.
So we'll take a look at the social medias, in case you didn't already know. So don't forget to keep an eye on Facebook next week for our Caption This Picture, which I normally tend to get on the old socials on a Wednesday. Other than that, it's Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. If you don't already follow us on there, search for us, Plain Talking UK.
I suppose we're supposed to say X now, aren't we?
Oh, X. Oh, if you would like to have a picture of an aviation-related subject on the green screen behind me here, or on the green screen behind Matt in the PTUK Master Suite Studios, send that picture to +44 757 22 49166. You can send us your feedback. We'd love to hear from you. If you get a chance, we'd love to hear your audio feedback. Would be great. But if you want to send us an email with your feedback, you can send it to podcast@plaintalkinguk.com. Also, the website, allthews.plaintalkinguk.com is where to go to find out more info on us as a team, and there's also your chance there to look at our shop where you can purchase a glorious PTUK t-shirt with beautiful embroidered front and printed back. Is also your chance to get one of our military mugs on there as well.
Nice Christmas present for someone.
Mug makes a good present for someone. And also the links are on our website for Patreon if you want to become a supporter of the show, and PayPal as well, because it all does genuinely help to bring the show together every week for everyone to see. Well, going to say a big thanks to Nick and producer John as well for this week in the background, doing all what they do each week. Also, big thanks to Nev as well for being on the show this week. Great to see you as always, Mr. Bounds.
Thank you, Tom.
And also thanks to Mr. Smith, Matt Smith, for pressing all the right buttons this week.
Well, yes, maybe pressing all the right buttons, but saying the wrong
things.
Yeah,
and I will just point out that I've turned my microphone off on the the
Have
A
you?
word,
Yes.
or actually
Well-
I can say it because it's switched off
Yes,
on my
okay.
Alexa, so it is not hearing anything.
And I'm wearing headphones, so my can't hear you.
Brilliant. Anyway, we will let you know what's going on next week on our socials. Hopefully, we'll be back. But if not, obviously, we'll be back very soon. So make sure you stay tuned to Plain Talking UK. And from me here in the home studio, from Nev in his glorious studios in Buckinghamshire, and from Matt just down the road that way from me here. Have a great weekend, whatever you're up to. Stay safe, and we'll see you soon. Say goodbye, Nev.
Yeah. See you. Bye-bye. Bye.
Yes, the cider was very nice. I'm currently tucking into a Ludlow's Brewing Company stairway.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah,
that, I did enjoy that.
I've just got the pale ale left to go now. Not now. I'm going to go to bed, but...
Oh, it's always nice to have a little tipple before you hit the sack.
Absolutely, indeed.
Yeah.
Very much.
Good, really good brewery. That brewery down there in Ludlow was lovely down in Shropshire. Really,
Nice.
really good beer down there.
Nice. You've got a nice brewery near you, Nev, haven't you? Actually, we've had one or two nice ones from...
Yes. There's the Chiltern Brewery just down the road from me, and many others around Oxfordshire as well. Actually, yeah, really nice. Yeah.
Yes, I must get a I must get some ampersand or something like that. Actually, that's quite nice, isn't it? And local.
Yeah. Plus, there's lots to choose from there as well.
There is, yes, absolutely. Amen to that.
I've got a couple of really good little take-home plastic containers in the garage, which I use for there. Yeah, they hold 5 pints in each one.
Nice.
But they're brilliant. You just take them to the ampersand and pick a beer. They'll fill it up, take it home, and it keeps for 2 or 3 days.
And Bob's your auntie. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good. Very good. Well then. All right. Well, we'll let these lovely people get back to their Friday evening. Thanks for keeping us company.
Thanks for tuning in,
always.
everyone.
And we'll let you know as soon as we can whether Carlos is able to find some people to join him, or whether it will just be
me on my own.
Wow. Okay. Wow. Go on then.
Oh, God blimey. No.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure you'll be able to find someone.
I have a few ideas.
We haven't had Andy on for at least a week. I mean, I think
Actually, yeah, I'll have a WhatsApp round and see who I can grab for next week.
Well, I mean, the studio will be available. I'll just be freezing my nibs off over in I. So
yeah, Dirk is saying surprise chat room host for next week. Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
Surprise
actually.
chat room host.
Get
Somebody from the chat room.
someone from the chat room to join me next week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ooh, that sounds terrifying. I'm glad I'm not here for that one. Blimey.
Anyway, right.
All that lot, honestly.
I know.
What are they like?
Anyway, Nev, as always, final words from yourself, sir.
Yes, thanks very much for everybody tuning in tonight. Really appreciate it. I hope you have a great weekend. And I say I shan't be back next week, but we will be doing something next week with somebody. But we'll let you know what that is in the socials during the week. So take care, everybody. Have a good one, and bye for now.